San Diego may be on the verge of a flu emergency. The decision facing local leaders as reports of new cases continue to surge.
We're in January and we have not seen almost any rain. In fact, it's the driest start to our water year.
And that's about to change. A day of gray skies and sprinkles is about to turn into a night of rain. Details on San Diego's first big storm of the winter season.
These members realize that young sailors are probably having to fend off offers of marijuana all the time.
Marijuana and the military. What does legalization mean for the men and women serving under a zero-tolerance policy? KPBS Evening Edition starts right now. Good evening, and thanks for joining us. I'm Ebony Monet. After record-breaking dry conditions, the San Diego area is getting its first rain of the year. The light shower started this morning for many areas and is expected to pick up. Before the storm moves out of the area, forecasters say some places will see 1 to 2 inches of rainfall. Alex Tardy with the National Weather Service says while the rain is significant, it won't put a dent in our long-term deficit.
But it will make a big impact to causing some local flooding, some runoff, like in the Lilac Fire area. There's going to be a lot of mud and debris moving around in that low-lying area. And maybe even some urban flooding because most of the rain is going to come in during the morning commute Tuesday and the afternoon commute on Tuesday.
The rain will not only continue Tuesday, but bring with it strong winds. The National Weather Service warns the morning commute will likely be slick and possibly hazardous, with heavy isolated thunderstorms and gusts of wind up to 50 miles an hour, especially between 4 and 10 in the morning. The city of San Diego is taking action by cleaning storm drains and pipes. Portable pumping stations are also being set up in flood-prone areas. A city spokesman is urging individuals to do what they can to prepare.
Take this time now to sweep and pick up around your home, property, and business. Things like plastic bags, cardboard, and other debris can clog storm drains, leading to unnecessary flooding.
The city is also opening its inclement emergency shelter for 250 homeless people. It's located at the campus of Father Joe's Villages in East Village. It will be open tonight and tomorrow. The flu season has been so severe, local leaders are deciding whether to declare a state of emergency. An announcement is expected tomorrow. The final week of 2017 saw a huge spike in reported flu cases. Hear more from KPBS North County reporter Allison St. John.
The numbers are startling. More than 3,000 reported cases of the flu reported in the final week of 2017. The question is, will those numbers keep going up? Already this season, there are 8 times as many reported cases as last year, and 45 people have died at last count in San Diego County. That's why this week's update, to be delivered tomorrow, is crucial. County health officials were not sure last week whether the outbreak was peaking early or if the numbers would continue to rise. You can see the red line is the number of cases reported as of the end of last year. You can see the brown line that the flu started earlier, back in 2009, and then leveled off. In the 2014-15 winter, the blue line, we had a bad year, but it also leveled off. We will find out tomorrow what's happening to this year's red line. Will it level off or keep climbing? The flu typically peaks around February, so we have a long way to go. It's worth noting that all but one of those who died in San Diego in last week's tally were older than 60, and most had underlying health conditions. Health officials say people usually develop flu symptoms 2 or 3 days after they're exposed to the virus, but are most contagious the day before symptoms develop. Allison St. John, KPBS News.
The San Diego Blood Bank says the flu is affecting its supplies. Donors are canceling their appointments because of illness. Blood banks on the East Coast have similar supply problems right now because of winter weather, and there's a potential for a national shortage. The blood bank is asking healthy people to come in and donate, especially those with type O blood. Today, a coalition of business, tourism, and homeless leaders announced plans to launch a citizens initiative for an expanded convention center. Yes for a Better San Diego would increase the City of San Diego's transient occupancy tax by as much as 3.25%. Supporters say that would generate billions of dollars for homeless services and street repairs. The initiative would also expand the current convention center, which San Diego Regional Chamber of Commerce Chief Operating Officer Jamie Bradford says our region has outgrown.
But we are missing out on tens of millions of dollars and hundreds of jobs because we can't accommodate conventions that grow. And we are losing access to large and small conventions to our competitors in Orange County, LA, and San Francisco.
In a statement to KPBS News, the San Diego Convention Center says proponents plan to publish the initiative's language sometime this week and hope to begin collecting signatures by the end of January. Income inequality in San Diego County is increasing, despite some of the lowest unemployment numbers since the late 1990s. That's according to new analysis by our media partner, iNewsSource, using U.S. Census data. Normally, when unemployment drops, incomes grow and inequality between the have and have-nots begins to diminish. That's not happening here, in part because of high housing costs. For more details, go to iNewsSource.org. Allegations of sexual harassment at the state capitol will be shared with the public in a new push for transparency. A state law had exempted the release of documents that involved lawmakers, but new allegations that led to several resignations brought about the change. San Diego State Senator Joel Anderson says he expects fair investigations and clarity on how the accused will be treated.
We need a transparent process. We need to allow the victims to have a voice in how that process works. And the only way we're going to do that is if we open it up and quit playing hide the pea by continuing to sweep corruption under the rug here at the Capitol.
Any records released will not include the names of accusers and witnesses. Salvadorians are reacting to the Trump administration's announcement that special protections for Salvadoran immigrants are ending. Immigrants from El Salvador have had temporary protected status since 2001 after major earthquakes devastated parts of the country. The move could force nearly 200,000 immigrants to leave the U.S. by 2019 and could have a negative effect on the country, which relies on remittances from wage earners in the U.S.
It's going to affect us, not only myself, but also at the national level, because here in El Salvador, it is sustained by remittances from the United States. What bad news, because there will be a lot of turmoil. There will be a lot of problems.
El Salvador is the fourth country whose citizens have lost temporary protected status under President Trump. In November, protections ended for citizens of Haiti and Nicaragua. A San Diego Republican is putting some distance between himself and the Trump administration when it comes to enforcing federal laws on marijuana. U.S. Attorney Jeff Sessions added another layer of confusion to budding businesses last week when he said he would rescind Obama-era policies that turned a blind eye to marijuana use in states where use is legal. San Diego Congressman Issa says other drugs should be a higher priority.
I would hope that they prioritize those drugs, and if they're going to enforce against marijuana, they do so as much as possible with people who perhaps are trafficking in both. You know, often they can get a conviction on a drug trafficker on one drug when they know they're doing both. So I'm hoping that that's where the priorities are. When I've talked to our U.S. attorney, that happens to be our U.S. attorney in San Diego's priority is to sort of start with an order of crimes, not to ignore marijuana, but not to make it the highest priority for obvious reasons.
The military is still navigating the cultural shift on recreational marijuana, even though it's legal in California. KPBS military reporter Steve Walsh says pot use can still easily end a military career.
Just behind you here, you've got all your concentrates that we offer, as well as the seeds if you're looking to grow your own.
Wilson owns Urban Leaf, which began selling marijuana for recreational use on the first day it became legal in California this year. There were long lines outside his storefront outlet in San Diego.
You know, you can see the people that walk in the door. It's your next door neighbor, it's your aunt, it's your grandmother.
That may also include the wife of a sailor or the husband of a Marine, but not the service members themselves, who are still subject to a zero-tolerance policy on marijuana. That can make life even more challenging for anyone stationed in California and their commanders. Jeff Carver is an attorney and retired Navy JAG officer in San Diego who defends people on active duty who fail a drug test.
Well, that's Article 112 Alpha.
He read from the latest copy of the Manual for Court-Martial.
In the military, any, that's in italics, drug offense is serious because of high potential for adversely affecting readiness and mission performance.
With few exceptions, being caught with marijuana or THC in your bloodstream means you're likely to face discharge, the end of a military career.
But if you want to be Secretary of the Navy, you want to make a career out of this endeavor, you cannot smoke marijuana. You can't eat marijuana brownies, and you probably can't hang out with your friends if they're smoking marijuana.
We use the shotgun.
The military has a long history of grappling with marijuana.
Paul, let me borrow that bowl from you.
The scale of drug use in Vietnam was making the evening news, and it was unnerving to the Pentagon.
Recent surveys estimate that well over 50% of the soldiers in Vietnam use marijuana.
You get really stoned. Then, who cares about the war?
The actual number was closer to 70% of the troops in combat were using marijuana at some point. In 1981, some sailors involved in a crash aboard the USS Nimitz had marijuana in their system. That led to a zero-tolerance policy. And that's pretty much where the policy stands today across the military. But in recent years, the Pentagon has been looking at that policy.
Let's say somebody went to Burning Man 2 weeks ago and partaked in some goodies. Are they still eligible?
In the last year of the Obama administration, speaking before a Silicon Valley crowd, Secretary of Defense Ash Carter hinted that the Pentagon was rethinking its stance, at least on marijuana use prior to joining.
We need to understand, and we do, the way people have lives have changed, not hold against them things that they've done when they were younger. And so it's an important question, and the answer is yes, we can be flexible.
Current Defense Secretary James Mattis has said little about the issue, but there are other signs the military may be softening the zero-tolerance policy. The Army and Navy have made it easier to allow potential recruits to obtain a waiver for those who used marijuana prior to enlisting. And last year, the Air Force eliminated past marijuana use as a criteria for barring enlistment, as long as it didn't result in a criminal penalty. Jeff Carver, the San Diego attorney who represents military clients, says while testing positive for marijuana is still likely to get you kicked out of the Navy, most marijuana cases no longer go to criminal trial. He says commanders realize society's attitudes have changed.
There's got to be a little more give, a little more love there than there used to be. These members realize that young sailors are probably having to fend off offers of marijuana all the time. At least that's what we envision. And so, the punishment probably is becoming more liberal.
That doesn't mean sailors can expect a free pass. The acting commander at Naval Base San Diego issued a statement ahead of recreational marijuana becoming legal in California, stating marijuana remains strictly forbidden under federal law and that we continue to enforce our zero-tolerance policy. Steve Walsh, KPBS News.
I'm Judy Woodruff. Tonight on the NewsHour, Fire and Fury. I talk with writer Michael Wolff about his explosive new book on the Trump White House. Coming up at 7, right after Evening Edition on KPBS.
Applications for next year's grand jury are closing this week, and court officials are worried. The San Diego Superior Court says they have reached a, quote, historic low with just 56 applications as of Friday. KPBS reporter Matt Hoffman has more.
It's about as low as we've ever seen, and it reached the point where it concerned us greatly.
This year, the San Diego Superior Court says they've received half the applications they normally get.
Historically, we've had a very good response rate. This year, we're not seeing that.
The 19-member grand jury is responsible for citizen oversight in San Diego County, looking at a variety of issues.
Like transit districts. They'll look at jail operations. They'll look at probation operations. They could look at county government. They could look at city government.
The Superior Court is hoping to double the amount of applications before beginning their months-long selection process, which includes a background check and interview with a judge.
We want to make sure people are doing it for the right reason, which is to help. Someone's not getting in with an axe to grind, or someone has some nefarious purpose.
To apply, requirements include being a U.S. citizen, at least 18 years old, and a county resident. Despite this, court officials say most applicants are retirees.
Because it is a time commitment. I mean, it does take someone who's willing to dedicate the time, 4 days a week, 4 to 6 hours a day for a year.
People selected to serve on the grand jury work out of this downtown office. They get a $25 per day stipend and have travel expenses covered. San Diego Superior Court officials say low turnout for grand juries is not just a local issue.
Talking to colleagues around the state, other counties have experienced this. We just have not here in San Diego. We've always had great participation.
People interested in applying should go to sandiegocounty.gov/grand jury. Matt Hoffman, KPBS News.
We mentioned it at the start of the newscast. After a long dry spell, it's been a day of gusty winds, showers across San Diego, and the rain will continue to pick up. Regina Miller has more in tonight's forecast.
Thanks, Ebony. Well, we've been dealing with extremes. We had the dry, windy conditions. Now we've got rain. Also, we're going to have some gusty winds here as well. That system coming onshore, and we've had some showers around the area. Taking a look here across San Diego County, you can see how we did have a couple of showers going through a little bit earlier on. That'll be the case for tonight. Couple of showers around in spots with an overnight low of 59 degrees. And tonight's forecast, some other locations. We got some showers around Mount Laguna at 44 degrees. Borrego Springs is 54. And in Oceanside, we're at 54 degrees. We've got some of those showers. And then for late tonight and especially early tomorrow, that's when we're going to see the heaviest rain with that system coming onshore. So looking ahead at what we can expect through tomorrow, rain, some downpours, especially in the morning hours, winds gusting over 40 miles per hour, and we are also going to see lowering snow levels in the mountains. Here's our future cast, and you can see how it's got some of the rain around in the morning. Here we are at 9 a.m., so you can see maybe some heavier downpours here coming through. And then as we go into the midday and afternoon, we'll have some showers around for the afternoon, but there could be a thunderstorm as well. So watch for some flash flooding potential. So there is the chance we could see some flooding with this. Our temperatures tomorrow, Oceanside, 62 degrees, 64 in Borrego Springs, 47 in Mount Laguna, and we have the afternoon showers and some thunderstorms. It is going to be drier and milder as we go into the late week. So looking at your Tuesday, morning downpours along the coast, 62 degrees, and we'll also have those gusty winds. And then on Wednesday, still a shower or two in the area, 65. Plenty of sunshine on Thursday at 70 degrees. In the inland locations, morning downpours and our temperature of 60 degrees, a shower or two lingering on Wednesday. Thursday, sunny and warmer, 77. We're back up to 81 degrees by Friday. Tuesday in the mountain areas, we've got windy conditions, very gusty winds, 47 degrees, periods of rain, some downpours. Wednesday, a shower or two, plenty of sunshine on Thursday. And when the desert locations, morning rain and cloudy, stray shower around on Wednesday, sunlit and pleasant for Thursday. Ebony?
Researchers are looking into whether cuddly robots could help kids cope with cancer. AP reporter Marina Hutchinson has a story.
Ethan Daniels wants to become a famous actor, but the 12-year-old is currently in the toughest role of his life, fighting cancer.
It began with a large lump on the top of my head.
Since his diagnosis 9 months ago, the 12-year-old says one of the hardest things has been seeing the pain on his mother's face.
I think that it's terrible, that I would not want her to see me suffering, and I want her to feel like I could feel better.
Doctors say Ethan has to undergo at least another 3.5 years of treatment for his B-cell lymphoblastic lymphoma, but he won't be alone on his journey. If if the duck looks familiar, it is. Aaron Horowitz joined forces with insurance company Aflac to bring their company mascot to life as a social robot to help children living with cancer manage stress.
We have a great foundational base in how people have used these for children with autism, how they've been used to run obesity programs.
Analysts say the field is in its infancy, but so far, social robots have various applications and come in all sizes.
Social robots are being used in education, in medical and social support networks, and purely as an entertainment device.
Horowitz, who's created other social robots for children with diabetes, has a passion for wanting to help children cope with their illness based on his own experience.
As a child, I was diagnosed with human growth hormone deficiency. So I gave myself a shot every single day for about 5 years.
Horowitz and his team have been researching and talking to children with cancer for 18 months to perfect their robot.
He's got this backpack. You can tap these different faces to his chest, and you'll feel in all these different ways.
The robot even has a tube attachment, so the duck can get treatment at the same time as the child.
Wait, but this is just a tubey and no needle. Why do I need to put a needle but he doesn't have to?
Experts say children might find the robots more approachable.
Children interact with social robots in a different way than adults. So for a kid, the robot can be a peer, right? It's not an adult authority figure.
The Aflac Duck also plays soothing sounds like a tranquil forest or beach and does deep breathing to help children relax. Parents appreciate anything that alleviates their children's struggle.
It's a way for Ethan to express himself without actually having to say it, because you don't always want to say, I hurt.
What I like about the duck is that it has a lot of personalities. And he could be silly, it could be sad, it could be angry, it could be sick.
Aflac hopes to have the robotic ducks ready for distribution by the end of 2018. They will be given free of charge to children diagnosed with cancer.
Why can't I just have for one time, just a tubey with no needle?
Marina Hutchinson, The Associated Press.
Vacant lots are part of a solution to help the homeless in San Francisco. 2 colorful 5x8 structures stand inside a gated parking lot. These tiny homes are transitional shelters. KQED producer Arash Malik-Zadeh shows us how they help one resident find security and community.
So, I live here. This is transitional living as my home. My safe place compared to being on the street. My name's Cooper Arona. I'm here in the Impact Hub parking lot where I live in a little house, which is my transitional housing, which is a step in the right direction towards permanent housing. Always before I never had a key to get my tent. Then I have a crazy kitten that, Maison, so he's gonna come running out. His name is Maison because he needed a home. In French, it means a home. We both need some place to live, and we need some place safe to be, that we weren't going to be hurt or anything bad happened to us. My sister gave me this blanket. It was one of the warmest blankets I've had. This is like sturdy and strong. It gives me stability, it gives me security, just those little simple things. Having drawers when I come home, doing laundry, I put stuff away, I make my bed. You can stand up, and definitely the locking is huge, knowing that, when I come back, my stuff's still going to be here. That first night, I always said I'm never going to be in a tent. I'm never going to be like them. But my first night in a tent was probably one of the scariest nights I ever had. I had to do it because there was nowhere else for me to go.
So these are 2 examples of St. Francis Homelessness Challenge's transitional sleep and storage shelters. There wasn't enough being done to treat the encampment crisis like a true crisis. So we're addressing those real needs of saying people need a safe place to sleep and store their belongings. People need a place to go to the bathroom and collect trash today.
It's one thing to want to enhance the neighborhood. It's another thing to kick people out that have no place to go. I am one of the 3 community support integration team for Cooper, who lives in the little shelter next door. I think it's really important for us to provide a sense of neighborhood. So when Cooper has a problem, she reaches out and she'll text one of the three of us.
Maison, gentle. He gets so rough. But actually, Maison is part of our community too, because he has made it more comfortable for people to come to the gate, you know, to ask things. The neighbors, they accepted me wholeheartedly. It was cool. It felt good to belong to normal society again.
The work that we're doing here with this transitional pilot of 1, we hope to scale to a transitional village of 20 residents. And we hope to create 50 more of those so that we could actually take 1,000 people off of the streets. Like St. Francis said, first do what's necessary, then do what's possible, and suddenly you'll be doing the impossible.
Whatever it is that I do, whatever I do and how I do it, is going to be nothing but positive and something that's going to be amazing. I smile now because I know I'm going to be smiling then, you know? So, yeah.
This story comes to us from KQED San Francisco. You can read more about the Tiny Home program at kqed.org. You can find tonight's stories on our website, kpbs.org/evening edition. Thanks for joining us. Have a great night.